My name is Malachi Dyer, and this is my first song, which I've changed the style of, which is Someday. My overview of this song is that the original style was indie rock. The original artist was The Strokes, and the album they released was Is This It in 2001. I've changed the style from indie rock to reggae. Going to go over in subsections. So the first one will be melody, of how I've changed the song. So originally, it was changing from a major to a minor key within the chord. This was through either hammer-ons or just quickly just changing the chord halfway through to resolve it from either a minor or a major, or whatever was the opposite of the chord. Um, it also has lots of resolutions from minor chords. So I could take the example in the chorus. It went from an F sharp minor down to a D, down to eventually resolving for an A. And it is in a major key. So I've changed this. So I've stayed in the same chord throughout. So not doing the hammer on or changing the chord from whatever it was opposite tonality was. Um, and I have held unresolved chords for slightly longer just to build the tension a little bit more because it is a very major song. Um, and because it is very major, I've used the reference of Three Little Birds by Bob Marley and the Wailers. So my next subsection is harmony. As I've said, it's in a major tonality, which is in A major, the original. It uses A, B minor 7, B, E7, F sharp minor, and E. It has very bright verses, than it's much brighter than the choruses, and it holds on to the F sharp minor to build tension in the chorus, as I said, which will then get resolved eventually by the A, but first of all the D. Um, so what I've done is I have kept it in A, um, A major. I've kept it in A major because I have listened to a lot of reggae songs, and I've used Three Little Birds by Bob Marley and the Wailers as my reference point for a major reggae song. Using, I also use a B minor 7 to build tension instead of the F sharp minor. This is just because the F sharp minor would be going slightly too out of my pitch range for where I wanted it to be for reggae, as I wanted to keep it within quite a narrow region, to keep it quite relaxed. And I also use dominant 7 chords, um, such as the minor 7. Um, to reference this, I could put Red Red Wine by UB40, which uses some dominant 7 chords in it. My next section is rhythm. So the original had a 4/4 time signature, with 106 BPM, and it had quite a straightforward rhythm on the drums. So what I've changed, I haven't really changed too much with the rhythm, considering it is in 4/4 and reggae is around the same tempo of around 90 beats per minute to around 110 beats per minute. But I have made the guitars do a syncopated skank rhythm, um, just because this is in a lot of reggae songs and it sort of defines the reggae sort of style, when you're listening to it, especially with the skank guitar. Um, Sometimes on one guitar I'll be using double skank, um, which is also it just makes it a little bit more interesting. Um, I have used a small intro fill on the drums, which can be seen in a lot of Bob Marley songs, um, such as One Drop, for example. It's a very similar fill to One Drop. Um, but the syncopated skank can be seen in Night Nurse, in World of Reggae, sorry, and it can be seen. The triplets on the bass can be seen in Night Nurse. So my next section is texture. In the original, the intro was guitar and drums. The verse becomes a little bit more busy as the cymbals come in, so it becomes much thicker set texture. And in the chorus, the cymbals come out slightly, but the bass and guitar become more prominent in the original. And there is also a post-chorus dropout where it goes back to the bass and the drums. This makes it a much thinner texture. But what I've changed is basically I have put an extra instrument of the keyboard, drums, guitars, two guitars, and a bass, um, along with vocals. They all come in at once, but as they're playing, as the guitars are playing a skank, they're not playing it the whole time, which makes it a little bit less messy and slightly more tight. Um, but I can see this in Funky Kingston, where all the instruments play at once, but it still holds a tidy sort of texture, a thinner texture. For production, in the original, there was an overdrive used, room microphones, which made it a little bit more authentic, but there was quite a thumpy kick drum that they used, along with a punchy snare, as it is indie rock. It is they used a lot of limited overdubbing to make it more authentic again. So what I've changed is I haven't used overdrive and I've used reverb on the overheads, just to add this sort of Bob Marley sound to it, which we can see in Could You Be Loved, where there's no overdrive at all. It's much more clean on the guitars. And these are all my references together of what I've used to create this song and change it from indie rock into reggae.